So, antihistamines, we get asked about that a lot in our practice, and that makes sense because they're over the counter, they're readily available. Should you give them to dogs? When would you give them to dogs? And how much do you give? And so we're going to talk about that today. So let's start out at the beginning. What is Benadryl?
Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start.
What is Benadryl? Benadryl is the brand name for the chemical compound diphenhydramine. And diphenhydramine is from a class of chemicals called antihistamines. And so anti is against histamine. So it is a drug that blocks or stops the production of histamine. Histamine is a naturally occurring substance that the body produces, the cells produce it, in response to a noxious stimuli from the external environment. And so it is a naturally occurring process. And the problem is when the body produces too much histamine. So a little bit too much histamine is what we would call an allergy or an allergic reaction. Way too much production of histamine inappropriately would be what we call anaphylaxis. So can you give Benadryl to dogs? Yes, you can. And there's a couple times where we would use it in our practice and a couple times that you might be able to use it in your everyday life. Should you put Benadryl in your emergency kit for your pet? And here are a couple instances where I think Benadryl could be useful. So the first is obviously an anaphylactic reaction. Very rarely will we see some sort of an anaphylactic reaction or an allergic reaction to vaccines. This is usually manifested facial swelling or hives. You guys will call us and we'll say, bring your pet back in, and we will give them an injection of an antihistamine. In general, we're not going to recommend an oral antihistamine in this case because it takes too long for that to absorb. And so we will recommend you bring them in and we will go ahead and give them an injection. The other type of time that I would give an antihistamine, and I would ask you guys to give this at home, is if your pet has been diagnosed with a mast cell tumor. And so this is a common tumor in dogs. It's a skin tumor, and this tumor actually produces histamine. And so if these tumors that produce histamine are disturbed or bumped, there's a chance that that histamine will get released and cause an issue in your pet similar to an anaphylactic response. And so we will have you guys give Benadryl on a daily basis to prevent that.